Uh, so I'll just recap. Yesterday, we had started talking about the 10 activities of the Jeevan. I mean, not yesterday, we started that a little earlier. And then yesterday, we were talking about the vision, which is the second orbital of the Jeevan. And this vision, even in our current delusion state, it is still actively functioning in its activity of visualization. So our Chitran, that is what we had started talking about. And Baba had started sharing how it is through this visualization that we have been able to identify and obtain all our basic needs and enterprisal needs, those two categories that we had discussed much earlier. And then we had kind of moved from there and started talking about how, because we were able to visualize these things, the resources that we need to keep our body running and keep society going, which are the basic needs and the enterprisal needs, and we have been able to obtain them also. We started to feel that these are the very achievements. I mean, these are the only achievements, and these are the evidence of humankind's greatness, of humankind's superiority and all of that. So we started hi Madhu. Basically we started mistaking our power to visualize as our ultimate achievement. And what that has led to is this huge imbalance in nature. And even like because I think what was there something about the obsessions in materialism that are to do with no, it's written here in that section, but I don't remember listening to it actually. So anyways, we created all these objects of consumption, and I had already in our disposition orbital, we remember discussing how we had decided that consumption and accumulation is our purpose. So having created the objects to consume and accumulate, we have been basically doing that. And at this point, things are really disorderly. And that is because we have mistaken these to be the very achievements of humankind, these to be the defining properties. The fact that we are able to create these products, that has become the defining quality of being human, this sort of productive creativity of sorts. And on that, there was this comment on how actually in biology, they've tried to study the human. We have not, having misidentified these to be the defining qualities, it shows that we haven't actually studied humans. We don't know what human beings actually are. And often those who claim that they're studying humans, the biologists, the physiologists, they're not even studying human bodies. They are studying corpses in which the human is no longer even alive. So hi Manjuji, and I'm just doing the recap.
Hi, I will be driving, and for 10 minutes, I'll be on the road for 10 minutes. But I'm I can hear you. I'll be listening to you.
Okay. Let us know when you've reached. Then if you have anything to talk about, we can do that. Pause and do that. So yeah.
Yeah. And Drishti, me through Modu is distracting on the screen. I can mute her.
No, it's okay. Oh no. Keep it on only. I'm not getting distracted. It's okay.
Yeah, Drishta, she puked. So 1 sec.
Okay. 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 So yeah, we were talking about how, starting from the activity of the orbital called vision and its activity of visualization, how we have mistaken that power to visualize and create as the defining quality of humans, when we haven't actually understood or studied or understood humans. Biologists have been studying corpses, whereas the Jeevan has already left in a corpse. So you're not actually even studying a human body. You're just studying a dead body, which is hardly qualifiable as human. And because of this, we also haven't studied the human we haven't studied existence, and we haven't studied human conduct. And because of this, we have reached a point where our existence on this planet is under threat. And now there are only two options, that either we, we understand what humans are, what this existence is, and what humans are supposed to be doing in this existence, or we vanish from the face of the earth. These are the only two options. And then he began to kind of talk about how various traditions, the various seats of power, have also found no answers to what might be the way forward for humanity in this situation. So the major seats of power are the seats of religion and the seats of, the states, the nation states. So that's the seat of power, and the seat of religion. They hold all the authority and all the resources of our society, and they are clearly not. They don't have any solutions, because the seats of religion have found no basis for any sort of universality among religions or universality among all humans in terms of morality. And the seats of power have not been able to understand or identify what a state or a nation is supposed to be, really. Is it just a geographical boundary that is kind of bounded, and then everyone within it has to follow the system that is being imposed? What really is a state and what really is a nation? That has not been understood by the seat of power. And then there is the seat of education, which has been unable to study humanity and existence, and not been able to give any sort of guidance regarding human direction, human purpose, human goals, and therefore have found, offered no solutions either. And then, of course, the seat of trade and business, the seat of commerce, rather, that is obviously of no help, because that was established for the very purpose of exploitation. So there we can't even consider looking for a solution. So this is a bit of the discussion that had happened yesterday. And now he was talking about how what is courage is that we recognize that these four traditions of state, religion, education, and commerce have no solutions to offer. So the courageous thing to do is to find the solution, or to find the path forward. And finding the path forward means understanding the problem, understanding the solutions, understanding and that means understanding who we are, understanding existence, and understanding human participation in this existence, which is humane conduct. And I think that is what courage is. Courage is not about fighting. Courage is not about anything strange like that. This is what courage is all about. I think that's where we had paused yesterday. So I'll resume from there.
उपाय खोजा जा रहा है। कुछ लोग सोचते हैं कि हमारा देश वाले बच जाए, कुछ धर्म वाले सोचते हैं कि हमारा। से आप समझदार नहीं हुए, आप स्वयं अपने को जांचेंगे तभी समझदार हुए। मैं चारों मिलता नहीं, इसके बहुत भी मारपीट की परंपरा बना के रखें में ही पूरा हो गई है मनुष्य परंपरा। ये स्मरण दिलाने का मुद्दा यही है। अभी परंपराएं जो ये 4 परंपराएं गिनाए गए, इससे हमको कोई रास्ता मिलने वाला नहीं है। कुल मिला के इतने हैं सभ्य वचन। तो रास्ता नहीं मिलता है तो क्या किया जाए? रास्ता खोजा जाए, बनाया जाए, यही।
So if we don't find a path through these 4 traditions, what do? We find the way, we forge the way forward.
साहसिकता का परिचय है वो रास्ता।
This itself is the indication of courage.
क्या चीज है? समझदारी का रास्ता होगा। मारपीट की रास्ता कुछ नहीं होगा। मारपीट करने वाला बस जानवरों के संसार में ही पूरा हो गई है। मनुष्य परंपरा के लिए मारपीट कोई साधन नहीं है। मारपीट से कोई लक्ष्य मिलता नहीं है।
And the way forward will be a way of understanding, not a way of fighting. Fighting is not the way for human beings. whatever had to be accomplished through fighting was already accomplished in the animal order.
जानवरों के संसार में ही पूरा हो गई है। मनुष्य परंपरा के लिए मारपीट कोई साधन नहीं है, मारपीट से कोई लक्ष्य मिलता नहीं है, मारपीट से कोई हमारा आवश्यकताएं पूरा होता नहीं है।
For the human tradition, fighting is no resource, fighting is no means, and fighting does not lead to any, doesn't allow us to reach our goals, and fighting does not serve our purposes, basically.
मारपीट से हमारा तृप्ति मिलता नहीं।
And fighting doesn't lead to, through fighting we are unable to find our fulfillment.
चारों मिलता नहीं, इसके बहुत भी मारपीट की परंपरा बना के रखें।
All four of these we are unable to find, and despite that we have retained this established tradition of fighting for things. I think the four things he's talking about is it's no means, it doesn't lead to goals, it doesn't lead to our purposes, and it doesn't lead to our fulfillment. And yet we have retained this tradition of fighting among ourselves.
बोलिए साहब, ये भी लबराई हो गया कि नहीं हुआ? मिलता ही नहीं तो उसको भी डुहारो कहते, अब क्या किया जाए?
Now just think about this. Isn't this also some sort of labrahi? I have no idea what labrahi is. I'm just making up what this means. Some sort of hot air or something, I suppose. What?
कि नहीं हुआ, मिलता ही नहीं तो उसको भी डुहारो कहते, अब क्या किया जाए?
मिलता ही नहीं तो उसको भी तो
गया कि नहीं हुआ, मिलता ही नहीं तो उसको भी डुहारो कहते, अब क्या?
तुहारो
घाट।
हाँ, तुहारो घाट। Oh, तो उसको भी तो हारो घाट. Yes, we take it to its cremation. If we are not, I'm guessing this is what it is. If we're not able to find anything to this means, then this also needs to be cremated, doesn't it? Basically.
Fighting, basically, he means.
Yeah. Basically, he said this approach of finding something or looking for the way forward through fight. That approach doesn't work. It doesn't lead to anything. So we should do away with it. No, we should cremate it, basically. I think that's what he said.
इस ढंग से हम हंसी के पात्र हो चुके हैं, इसलिए अब इस ढंग से हम हंसी के पात्र हो चुके हैं, इसलिए अब बुद्धि की बात यही है तो हम स्वयं समझदार हों, समझदार होने का जांच अपने में करें। तो मुझको करके आप समझदार नहीं हो सकते हैं।
And this is why we have become a laughing stock. So what do we do? The only thing to be done is that we must understand for ourselves, and we can't.
बुद्धि की बात यही है तो हम स्वयं समझदार हों, समझदार होने का जांच अपने में करें।
So the wise thing to do is that we become wise, we become knowledgeable ourselves, and to verify this knowledge within ourselves.
तो मुझको करके आप समझदार नहीं हो सकते हैं।
By verifying my knowledge, you cannot become knowledgeable.
मुझको जांचने मात्र से आप समझदार नहीं हुए, आप स्वयं अपने को जांचेंगे तभी समझदार हुए।
Simply by checking my understanding, you will not become knowledgeable. When you understand for yourself, then only can you be knowledgeable.
मैं संसार को जांच करके 30 वर्ष तक मैंने सिर कूट लिया, कहीं भी हम समझदारी का ट्रेस नहीं मिला।
I spent 30 years banging my head, trying to verify the knowledge of this world, and I reached nowhere.
वर्ष तक मैंने सिर कूट लिया, कहीं भी हम समझदारी का ट्रेस नहीं मिला।
And I found no trace of understanding anywhere.
जब हम 20 वर्ष प्रयत्न करके अपने को जांचा, तब समझदारी का ठोर मिला।
Then when I spent 20 odd years, attempting knowledge, attempting understanding on my own, I was finally then able to have some firm anchor on understanding.
तो अब ये पहले जो हम जितने भी परिश्रम किया उसको हम अध्यावसायिक विधि से अभी मानव को अर्पित करना चाहते हैं.
So what all this effort that I put in, all this work that I put in for these 20 years, I now want to dedicate this, the results of that, to the human race. Adhyavasayik vidhi. I don't know what adhyavasayik is. Let me just check. Adhyavasayik. Persevering. Okay, I want in a persevering way. I want to persevere towards dedicating this to humankind, or to the human race. Right?
कहीं भी हम समझदारी का ट्रेस नहीं मिला. जब हम 20 वर्ष प्रयत्न करके अपने को जांचा, तब समझदारी का ठोर मिला. तो अब ये पहले जो हम जितने भी परिश्रम किया उसको हम अध्यावसायिक विधि से अभी मानव को अर्पित करना चाहते हैं. उसी क्रम में एक प्रयास है ये. इस अध्यावसायिक विधि से यदि आप
And this is but one such attempt in the same direction.
क्रम में एक प्रयास है ये. इस अध्यावसायिक विधि से यदि आपको इंगित हो जाता है अस्तित्व शाश्वत सत्य है, आपको ये समझ में आ जाता है सह अस्तित्व ही शाश्वत सत्य है, सह अस्तित्व में जीना ही हमारा परम धर्म है.
And if this perseverance allows you to recognize, or allows me to indicate to you and helps you recognize that this existence is the ultimate eternal shashvat, not everlasting eternal truth. If you are able to understand that, let me listen to this again.
शाश्वत सत्य है, आपको ये समझ में आ जाता है सह अस्तित्व ही शाश्वत सत्य है, सह अस्तित्व में जीना ही हमारा परम धर्म है. ये यदि समझ में आता है,
if you are able to understand that existence itself is this everlasting eternal truth, that if you are able to understand that coexistence is itself this existence which is the everlasting eternal truth, and that living in this coexistence is our ultimate dharma, our ultimate principle of orderliness, our ordering principle basically, then
उसके लिए सारा समझदारी आपके समीचीन नहीं है.
for that, if you are able to ये सब समझ में आ जाता है तो
सह अस्तित्व में जीना ही हमारा परम धर्म है. ये यदि समझ में आता है, उसके लिए सारा समझदारी आपके समीचीन नहीं है.
So if you are able to understand this, then for that all of understanding is accessible. I'm not sure what he's saying here. If I am able to indicate to you that this is the ultimate truth and coexistence is the ultimate truth, and living in coexistence is our ultimate ordering principle for humans, then all understanding is accessible to you. Okay. So yeah, basically I think he's saying these are the main three principles to be understood and to be recognized, and that allows us to understand everything else. I think that's the best I can interpret this.
What is main three? Existence is real ultimate truth, like then coexistence, and then the purpose of human race is to live in coexistence, the dharam.
Sorry. Okay.
ये बहुत सुलभ है। लापरवाही ज्यादा कठिन है मेरे अनुसार। तो सच्चाई में जीना मनुष्य के लिए,
and this is very easy. Labarahi or laparwahi, I'm not sure what he said.
I think he means labrai se chaturai, like you know how people try to act smart.
Clever.
Labrai, yeah, unnecessary cleverness, like
okay, over smartness or something. Okay, so yeah, so then that makes sense actually. He's saying this is extremely easy and this is extremely accessible, and this maybe overly complicated over smartness that we have been trying to apply, that is much more difficult than understanding this reality.
सुगम है। आज भी मैं यही कहूंगा, सच्चाई में जीना मनुष्य के लिए सुगम है।
किसने जीना?
तो सच्चाई में जीना मनुष्य के लिए सुगम है। आज भी मैं यही कहूंगा, कल भी यही कहूंगा।
So living in this truth is, even to this date, extremely accessible and easy for human beings. Today also I will say this, tomorrow also I will say the same.
मैं जी करके देखा हूं। हमको पहले जब हम तमाम प्रश्नों से घिरा था, उस समय में हमको जीने में कितने तकलीफ थी, और वो प्रश्नों से मुक्त हो गया, समाधान से हम संपन्न हो गए, लेस हो गए।
I have seen it by living in this way. And before this, when I was surrounded by all number of questions, the amount of difficulty that I faced while living like that.
जब हम तमाम प्रश्नों से घिरा था, उस समय में हमको जीने में कितने तकलीफ थी, और वो प्रश्नों से मुक्त हो गया, समाधान से हम संपन्न हो गए, लेस हो गए। उसके बाद हमारे पास सुगमता ही सुगमता है।
And upon becoming free of those questions, upon attaining the solutions and answers, ever since then I have had, I have found everything to be, I've had sugamta hi sugamta, ease and only ease.
हमको कहीं कठिनाई दिखती नहीं है। ये मेरा सत्यापन यही है।
I see no, ever since then I have seen no difficulties, and this is my declaration. This itself is my declaration.
यदि ये बात मुझको पटती है, मुझको ठीक लगता है, यदि आपको भी ठीक लगता है, तब तो हमारा विश्वास और बढ़ेगा ही। इसी प्रकार हमारा
this is something that matches, this is something that fits well with me. This is something that I find works, I find it appropriate. If you also feel that this is appropriate, then well, naturally my confidence will naturally increase.
साथियों में 20 तब तो हमारा विश्वास और बढ़ेगा ही। इसी प्रकार हमारे साथियों में 20 व्यक्तियों में ये बात को देख लिया गया, प्रमाणित कर लिया।
In this very way, even in my friends and in my colleagues, this fact has been seen and it has been evident.
ली गई। ये हमारा एक उत्सव की, उत्साह की, दृढ़ता की, विश्वास की आधार ये बनी हुई है।
So this is a basis for my celebration, for my enthusiasm, for my firmness and steadfastness, and for my confidence. This is something that exists.
ये बात यदि आप भी चाहते हैं, आप भी अपने में जांचिए।
In case you also want this for yourself, then you should also check this within yourself.
क्या जांचेंगे भाई? चिंतन से जांचना शुरू होता है, न्याय से।
What will you check? It is through contemplation that we can begin checking.
क्या जांचेंगे भाई? चिंतन से जांचना शुरू होता है, न्याय से शुरू होता है। क्या हम संबंधों को समझे हैं या संबंधों को हम निर्वाह करते हैं? संबंधों में निहित मूल्यों को मूल्यांकन कर पाते हैं? उभय तृप्ति जगह।
So, what is it that you will check? Checking starts with contemplation. It starts with justice. So we will check, have we understood relationships? Have we understood the values and their correspond the how do you say मूल्यों का निर्वाह?
क्या हम संबंधों को समझे हैं या संबंधों को हम निर्वाह करते हैं? संबंधों में निहित मूल्यों को मूल्यांकन कर पाते हैं? उभय तृप्ति।
So have we understood relationships? Are we able to live out these relationships? Are we able to evaluate the values within these relationships? And are we able to experience, I think,
हम निर्वाह करते हैं? संबंधों में निहित मूल्यों को मूल्यांकन कर पाते हैं? उभय तृप्ति जगह की आ पाते हैं? नहीं आ पाते?
Are we able to reach the state of mutual fulfillment or not? These are the things we will check within ourselves, and all of this will be happening through contemplation.
Ubhay means mutual.
ये जांच
Yeah.
नहीं की मुद्दा है।
These are the things to be checked.
ये चिंतन क्रिया का मतलब है, जो पांचवी क्रिया है। ये
And this is the meaning of the activity of contemplation, which is the fifth activity.
शुरू करते हैं। वृत्ति में जो दूसरा एक निश्चित कार्यक्रम है, प्रिय हित लाभ में निश्चयता मिलता नहीं। हमको जो प्रिय लगा आपको प्रिय नहीं लगेगा, आपको जो हित लगा हमको हित नहीं लगेगा, आपको जो जितना
So when this starts, then in the disposition, the previous orbital, the vritti, the preference, health, and profit criterion are never definite and never definitive. Whatever I feel I prefer, you will not prefer. Whatever is healthy for me will not necessarily be healthy for you. And what seems profitable to me will not be profitable to you. So therefore, it cannot be. These preferences, health, and profit cannot be made steady and stable.
नहीं लगेगा, आपको जो हित लगा हमको हित नहीं लगेगा, आपको जो जितना लाभ हुआ उतना लाभ से हम संतुष्ट नहीं होंगे, ना हमको मिल नहीं सकती। दोनों में एक कोई ना कोई स्थिति में
and the amount of profit you had, that profit will no longer feel satisfactory to me. That is always a possibility. My sound is sort of kind of getting garbled. Try again.
से हम संतुष्ट नहीं होंगे, ना हमको मिल नहीं सकती। दोनों में एक कोई ना कोई स्थिति में हम रहते हैं। इस विधि से लाभ की स्थिति में सब समान हो नहीं सकते। लाभ के मुद्दे पर सब समान हो नहीं सकते, क्योंकि आप जैसा लाभ पैदा करते हैं वैसा हम कोई स्थिति में हम रहते हैं, ना हमको मिल नहीं सकती। दोनों में एक कोई ना कोई अपना लाभ से हम संतुष्ट नहीं होंगे।
Is it getting garbled for you also, or is it just me?
No, your voice is fine for me.
No, the recording, the sound of
The
the
recording
recording.
is a little breaking, but you can understand what he said. Well, you can hear everything, but it goes up and down a little. That's all.
Yeah. I'm not able to understand fully. Let me try.
नहीं लगेगा, आपको जो जितना लाभ हुआ उतना लाभ से हम संतुष्ट नहीं होंगे, ना हमको मिल नहीं सकती। दोनों में एक कोई ना कोई
amount of profit that you've made will not be satisfying for me, or I will not be able to profit. So one of these will necessarily happen.
स्थिति में हम रहते हैं। इस विधि से
This is the kind of
लाभ
situation we reach.
ना हमको मिल नहीं सकती। दोनों में एक कोई ना कोई स्थिति में हम रहते हैं। इस विधि से लाभ की स्थिति में सब समान हो नहीं सकते। लाभ के मुद्दे पर सब समान हो नहीं सकते, क्योंकि आप जैसा लाभ पैदा करते हैं वैसा हम पैदा नहीं कर पाऊंगा, या आप जितना।
So on the basis of profit, on the basis of profit, you and I, we cannot be equal, because the amount of profit that I,
क्योंकि आप जैसा लाभ पैदा करते हैं वैसा हम पैदा नहीं कर पाऊंगा, या आप जितना पैदा करते हो उससे हम संतुष्ट होंगे नहीं।
because of these two reasons, either I will not be able to generate as much profit as you, or I will not be satisfied with the same amount of profit as you.
बोलिए साहब, झंझट फंस गया कि नहीं फंसा? इसी में सब फंसे हैं, 700 करोड़।
Now, see what I mean. Now, what do we do? And don't we get stuck in this way? This is what all 700 crore of us are trapped in.
आदमी निचट फंसे हैं, पूरा फंसे हैं। यही ज्यादा कम का मुद्दा है, ये हो नहीं सकती।
So we are all stuck in this very definitively. This issue of more and less, of greater and lesser, is something.
यही ज्यादा कम का मुद्दा है, ये हो नहीं सकती। उसके बाद हित की बात हो गया। हम जिस वस्तुओं को सेवन करके हम स्वस्थ रहते हैं, तो आप उस
But this is the issue of more and less. Did you hear that?
Yeah. He said hit. Then there is another issue of hit. जिन वस्तु करके हम खुश होते हैं, and then you paused.
Basically, more or less, he was saying that this is the issue of more or less is the issue of more or less. Then there is the question of health. And
बात हो गया, हम जिस वस्तुओं को सेवन करके हम स्वस्थ रहते हैं, तो आप उसको सेवन करोगे, आप रोगी हो जाओगे। इसमें
so the things that I consume to remain healthy, if you were to consume those very same things, you might become sick.
समानता आना नहीं है, तो आप उसको सेवन करोगे, आप रोगी हो जाओगे। इसमें समानता आना नहीं है।
So there is no basis for equality or sameness in this, in the matter of health.
इसमें एक होना नहीं है। आप कुछ और खाओ,
We are not going to be equal in this.
आना नहीं है। इसमें एक होना नहीं है। आप कुछ और खाओगे, मैं कुछ और खाऊंगा। मैं अपने स्वास्थ्य के लिए हम चिंतित रहूंगा, आप अपने स्वास्थ्य के लिए चिंतित रहेंगे। आप
What did he say initially? Could you hear that?
मैं कुछ और खाऊंगा, आप कुछ और खाएंगे। मैं अपने स्वास्थ्य, आप अपने स्वास्थ्य के लिए चिंतित।
Okay. So you and I will eat something else. You will remain concerned with your health, concerned with my health.
आप जिसको खा करके स्वस्थ रहेंगे, उसको खाएंगे तो मैं रोगी हो जाऊंगा। मैं जो खाता हूँ आप खाओगे तो आप रोगी हो जाओगे। इस ढंग से खाने में भी कोई समानता का आधार बनता नहीं। लाभ में तो होता है।
Because if I eat what you eat, I will what you eat to remain healthy, I will fall sick. And if you eat what I eat to remain healthy, you might fall. So in this way, health forms no basis for equality or sameness.
नहीं, ना संतुष्टि के आधार बना। और हो गया प्रिय लगना, तो प्रिय लगना इंद्रिय संचेतना के लिए
basis for prosperity. Then we have preference.
इंद्रिय संवेदना। और हो गया प्रिय लगना, तो प्रिय लगना इंद्रिय संचेतना के लिए, इंद्रिय संवेदना के लिए, जो जिसको अच्छा लगा वाला बात। अच्छा लगने वाला बात भी एक नहीं हो सकता। हमको जो
Preference is based on our sense organs and the sensations coming to our sense organs. So it is all about what feels good. Now, feeling good can have no basis of similarity or equality, because we can all find something tastes good to you and another is good.
चीज अच्छा लगा, आपको बुरा लग सकता है, आपको जो बुरा लगा हमको अच्छा लग सकता है।
And what you find doesn't suit your taste and suit my taste.
आप हम दोनों को अच्छा लगा, वह तीसरे को बुरा लग सकता है। ये सब चीज रखा हुआ है वितंडवाद। कहाँ जा करके मरे, कहाँ जा करके जीवे।
Like the same thing, it is always possible that the third person does not like that, like it. So, and anyway, hard to hear what is being said. Would you know what to tell after that?
बुरा लग सकता है, ये सब चीज रखा हुआ है वितंडवाद। कहाँ जा करके मरे, कहाँ जा करके जीवे। ये व्याधा मानव परंपरा में पीछे पड़ा है। इससे छूटने
I couldn't make out at all. Let's just pause it.
A little bit, yeah.
And
कहाँ जाकर जिए, कहाँ जाकर मरे के पहले one line I couldn't understand properly, but otherwise I was getting.
sound is breaking. I think it's my internet or something. I mean, my computer is getting too hot.
Between the stuff. When you're speaking now, like one word goes missing suddenly.
What is
Now you're stuck.
speaking?
Or my internet is okay. Manjuji, can you
I
struggle?
Vishnu is getting lost in between. You're all right.
Yeah, no, because even Baba's sound, both of your sounds are all coming to me all garbled. So it's very hard to make out. Let me just
Do the sharing. If
Forget
that
the video. Forget the video. है ना? Oh.
के लिए क्या किया जाए, कहाँ जा करके मरे, कहाँ जा को अच्छा लग सकता है।
on three of these, there is no basis of equality and sameness or universality. Now, what do we do? Where do we? Is like, where do we go and die? Where can we even find? Where do we end up?
आप हम दोनों को अच्छा लगा, वह तीसरे को बुरा लग सकता है। ये सब चीज रखा हुआ है वितंडवाद। कहाँ जा करके मरे, कहाँ जा करके जीवे। ये
Die. Where do we go and live?
what is Vitandava?
व्याधा
Vitandava. Did you say Vitandava just now? What did you say?
ये वितंडवाद कहाँ जा, फिर he said कहाँ जाके मरे, को अच्छा लगे, आप दो लोग लगे, तीसरा को नहीं अच्छा लगे, that's वितंडव।
Sounds like dilemma.
Dilemma,
Yeah.
हाँ.
Yeah. This contradictory situation. This dilemma. Yeah.
मानव परंपरा में पीछे पड़ा। ये व्याधा मानव परंपरा में पीछे पड़ा। इससे छूटने के लिए क्या किया जाए पूछा, इसका उत्तर
ये this something became.
This is basically something like engrossed.
And basically this problem has faced humankind.
परंपरा में पीछे पड़ा। इससे छूटने के लिए क्या किया जाए पूछा, इसका उत्तर वहीं रखा हुआ है, तुलन बिंदु में ही रखा हुआ है। ये
Okay, let me just, I think all this is like really getting garbled for me. Let me leave the meeting and come back.
Okay.
You know, I'll make the host.
वहीं रखा हुआ है, तुलन बिंदु में ही रखा हुआ है। ये तीन तुलन के स्थान पर दूसरा तीन तुलन है, जो मानव के लिए ही वह समीचीन है, बाकी जीव जानवरों के अन्य।
So then where do we go die? Where do we go live? And the answer to that is also found within this activity of weighing itself. Instead of these three criteria for weighing, there are these other three criteria for weighing.
रखा हुआ है। ये 3 तुलन के स्थान पर दूसरा 3 तुलन है जो मानव के लिए ही वह समीचीन है।
So instead of these 3 criteria for weighing, there is another 3 criteria for weighing in its place, which is only accessible and possible for humans.
बाकी जीव जानवरों के अन्य प्रकृति के लिए समीचीन नहीं है। वो
It is not accessible or possible for any other animal or for any other part of nature.
है न्याय, धर्म, सत्य।
And those are justice, order and truth.
न्याय से न्याय दृष्टि को हम जब तुलन करने लगते हैं, वो उसका नाम है चिंतन। न्याय हमको समझ में आया कि नहीं आया?
When we start to weigh according to this perspective of justice, that itself is called contemplation. That is, have we understood justice or not?
ये कब आता है? संबंध पहचानने की बाद दे आता है। संबंध पहचानने में आ गया, उसका फलवती स्वरूप ही है, मूल्य निर्वाह होने लगी।
When does this come? It only happens after identifying relationships. And when have we identified or recognized relationships? When we recognize relationships, its evidence is that from that very moment, the corresponding values start to flow.
उसका फलवती स्वरूप है मूल्यांकन हुआ। उसका
And the consequence of that, these values flowing, is that there will be an evaluation of whether the values have flowed or not. And the consequence of that,
फलवती स्वरूप हुई, हम उभय तृप्ति होने लगी।
is itself that we will start to feel mutual fulfillment.
Can
नाम
we listen once more, Drishta? I got for 1 second and also a little difficult.
Okay, so what is this contemplation we were talking about? It starts when we start using this perspective of justice in our weighing. So what is that perspective of justice? That will depend on whether we have understood relationships or not. How do we know that we have understood relationships? Well, that we will know because the consequence of understanding relationships is that we will be able to, the values will be able to flow. Once we recognize relationships, a natural consequence of that is that the appropriate values begin to flow. And a natural consequence of the flow of those appropriate values is that we will evaluate whether they have flowed or not. And a natural consequence of such evaluation is that this mutual fulfillment will be felt. So recognition of relationship, then a flow of the values that make up that relationship, an evaluation of those values, and based on that, this mutual fulfillment. That is the very definition of justice, these 4 points.
Now, what exactly does it mean, evaluation of relationship or the value of a relationship? Because most of the relationships we have been just grown up from instance, mother, father, this, so what exactly does he mean?
Yeah. That's exactly what this entire thing is going to be, because that is how we understand justice. We have to understand what relationships are. We have to understand what these values are. Only then will we be able to recognize them, and only then will they be able to flow. So that's going to come up. Up till now, when we have been living in relationships, even so-called relationships, we have mostly, for the largest part, we have been functioning within preference, health, and profit only. Like it has been within these 3 realms itself that we function, even within relationships.
But maybe not in the relationship of father, mother, brother, sister. I think then it may not be like that with many people. But you who are not aware of Jeevan. But outside the family, of course, I think it becomes more common, very common.
No, even within the family, it is worth exploring. Actually, we can pause here and we'll resume the recording tomorrow. So I'll just wrap up this conversation. I think even within the family, if you look at it, say, when, if there's a mother who's just, who's taking care of her child, and there's a father who's taking care of the child, they're taking care of what of the child? They're taking care of the child's health. And later on, also the child's preferences. My child likes this, so I'll get them this. I'll take care of this. Caring for the child, the intent is to care. But what ends up happening is caring for the body. So whatever suits the child's taste, whatever suits the child's health, or whatever seems profitable for the child, that ends up being how we translate our care for each other, even within the family. Outside of the family, often there is no care. Then it's just a matter of profit and loss and transaction. Sadly, I mean, often there is also, but even when there is care, it is within these three realms generally.
Could you give an example of how would a nyaya visualize, look like in any relationship which you feel that this is how you operate from nyaya?
Yeah. So we'll do that once we've discussed the relationships and their values. Then you will also have some context about why I'm saying what I'm saying. So we'll take that example on then.
Because very often we hear this, this terminology is always there. Blood is thicker than water. And then there's another terminology that we're all one.
Yeah. So, these are both contradictory statements, actually. And
I think
we are
both are
surrounded.
right, and both are true in a way,
Well, blood is thicker than water. So literally speaking, of course, that is true. And
not
of course,
literally. No, not
what
literally.
is...
You will not ever go out of your way to do, or not go give your life, if it comes to that, for somebody other than...
But many people do.
And mother will definitely do it for a child. Could be, not definitely even, that also the chance. So
Yeah.
blood is thicker than water in that sense. No,
I think our acceptances are thicker than water. So, even mothers who have adopted children, they will behave the exact same way with the adopted child as though it was from their own blood.
Because they made it a child. Because they made it, labeled it as a child, where the automatic duty is protect it and feed it and keep it healthy. And of course, give it sanskar. Give it whatever sanskars they know. That also they do. They train them in manners and Jeevan stuff, but without calling it Jeevan stuff. They're calling it you and me. But they're not saying, I'm doing this for your body. Now I've taken care of your body. Now I'm going to teach you Jeevan. They may not do it
because
that way,
we don't even know that. So, yeah. But yeah, that is what he's talking about, that as soon as you recognize the relationship, whether it's blood or not, as soon as you identify the relationship with someone, the corresponding values begin to flow. So with the adopted child,
identify a relationship with somebody.
So a woman identifies or chooses to identify or recognize with a child a relationship of parenthood. It's not her blood. She's not given birth to it, but she's identified, okay, now this is my child. And as soon as that happens, the appropriate, values begin to flow. She will be nurturing, she will be protective to the best of her capabilities, to the best of her understanding of these things.
These values are also conditioning, no? Because historically, every parent took child of their kid, and the kid grew up, took child of their parent. And historically also, in some cultures, you take care of your parents, and some you don't. So this all so fixed, So you don't, where is the chance for you to recognize? It's already there.
That is worth thinking about, which part of it is cultural and which part of it is innate. And I think a useful tool I find in checking between that is that which is cultural will not be universal. One culture will interpret it one way, another culture will interpret it another way. There is no basis for similarity otherwise across very different and very distant cultures. But if there is something that is innate, you will find some basis for universality because it's part of human.
Like what?
So, like any culture, you will find the mother figure is maternal. The whole notion of maternal is common across cultures. Whenever you say, oh, this is very mother-like or this is very maternal, it implies that it is nurturing and caring and, nourishing and protective.
The word means that. The word definitely means that. But how do you identify? I mean, the word means that I know. What does a mother figure mean, and what does this mean, and what are
In
the
any
duties?
language, in any
What
language,
are the duties?
across
Yeah.
cultures.
Yeah, so that, but we're talking about other relationships other than the cousin, uncle, grandma. Then how do you identify? What does it mean, identify?
Yeah. So what are these relationships and what are we going to be identifying in them? We have not become very awakened in all relationships. And to greater or lesser extent, we have been, different cultures are more awakened in more relationships and less in others. So that what are the relationships? That is something we will study going forward, and we'll go into it in depth. But we know that there are already relationships that we do identify, whether they are one or two or three, however many
What
they
do you
may
mean
be.
by the word identify?
You recognize this is who we are to each other. That's identification.
Drishta, maybe I'll share what I think here. More like identifying, it is we accept, we take it. Like I see you, and in my mind I say, oh, I'm gonna treat her. She feels like a younger sister. So then once I think, place you in my mind like a younger sister, then automatically I start behaving like I would with you to my younger sister. Similarly, if I position you in my mind as an elder sister, then I'll behave and expect from you the behavior of a elder sister. So this is how I am understanding what you're trying to say is identifying a relationship, because it's not like I'll see you and I'll realize, oh, this is my younger sister. I'll realize,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If like this is how I am seeing, identifying is more like taking it, accepting it in my mind, not exactly identifying.
Right. No, that's exactly it. Because as we had discussed earlier, in human beings, so in all of nature, there is a automatic identification and response, recognition and response. But in human beings, that recognition and response is based completely on our acceptances. And in our acceptances can be all haywire, or in the presence of understanding, our acceptances will all be in line with each other, not contradicting each other. So then with such acceptances, our ability to identify and respond becomes very, very smooth and easy. Because right now also we function based on these acceptances only, but often we have 2-3 acceptances that contradict each other, and that becomes just difficult and tricky for us, because we feel like, oh, we're in a dilemma, because ye kare ki wo kare. So this is exactly right. Our identification of relationships or anything is on the basis of our acceptance.
And does it have to be a mutual? Because like right now you said, if our acceptances are multiple, or let's say my acceptance of you is different than your acceptance of me, then there is a conflict. Like let's say for example, just for a sake of example, I consider you in my mind a younger sister, but you also consider me in your mind younger sister. Then that's not a mutually same thing,
That's not
right?
going to work out. Yeah.
Values system, how I will treat you and how will you will treat me, and there will be a disturbance in how I will feel, and that will then change my acceptance of you. Then it will create multiple acceptances.
Right. No, exactly. That's exactly what happens. And therefore, we must understand justice and understand relationships and how to go about them in order to live very smoothly, simply to live smoothly with other people. So I'm sorry, I'll have to end this here because my relation is waiting and I need to do justice by her.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Sorry. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Tomorrow
We'll
is
continue this.
Manjuji,
Sorry. Tomorrow I have a wedding. My friend's wedding begins from tomorrow, so I won't be able to take the session tomorrow or on Monday. So then I'll see you on
Friday,
Tuesday.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, no class.
Yay,
Yeah.
fortunately, they like it used to
I'll catch up.
long
I hope to catch up. Huh? And
Okay, yeah.
Sunday I'll come.
Yeah.
I'll remember to upload the video.
Okay, yeah.
Enjoy the
Thank you.
wedding. See you on
Enjoy
Tuesday.
yourself.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Prachi.
Bye.